Hello. So I have finished House of Open Wounds, which I talked about in my last vlog. I started last week and didn't complete. And I was so concerned last week about not saying too much that I feel like I just didn't say enough. So ignore that vlog. I'm going to tell you about the book now because I loved it. So book one is, it follows a city that's under occupation. And book two, we carry over two characters from book one that are now on the front lines. They're now working in a medical tent called Hell on the front lines of war. So for that character, those characters that carry over, so I loved so much from the dynamics that are carried over and how they progress, the conflicts, the personal character growth, the way that this character grows and changes in book two was so satisfying. And I mean that. I mean that. Pause, give that emphasis. But even with that being true, the new characters that come in made the book for me. Oh my goodness. So as we're here on the front lines of this war, working in this medical tent, we also have this motley crew of people. It feels very Abercrombie-esque in how it's a group of people that just don't fit. They just do not make sense as a group, but because of the circumstances that they're in, because of the world that they're living in, and because of the humor that's sprinkled in throughout it all, it just is a delight to read. It works when it seems like it shouldn't work, and I love it so much. So we follow characters that are we have a character that can heal people, but only if they promise to devote their life to pacifism after their healing, which is very inconvenient when you're healing soldiers who are actively fighting in a war. We have a character that can absorb pain and wounds into herself, a creature that can do it, and then put it out into the world. We have a necromancer who doesn't want to be a necromancer. In a group of people that it's really hard to pick who your favorite is, this one is my favorite probably. We have a wizard, we have priests and priestesses, just a group of people with different abilities that are working to heal people in a situation where modern medical practices aren't available. So this is what we've got to work with, and this is what we're attempting to do. And I enjoyed these perspectives so much. And with this, we also get to see several of these characters. They get their own perspectives. We get to see their own backstories. And it's so funny because it wasn't until I got to the end of the book and it all came together. The different perspectives, the different backstories, the different seeds that have been planted all throughout this story all came together that I realized, oh, this has been a slow burn. I didn't even notice. Every single chapter was so good. I was never bored. There was never a chapter that I thought, oh, well, I'm kind of losing interest. Like, never. And yet, it was all building to such an extraordinary end that I'm like, oh, this is a slow build that was so engaging the entire way through. And in each of these perspectives and the backstories that we get, we're also opening up this world so much. And in book one, the world was so good. It was so interesting. And in book two, the world opened up. The magic systems in the world opened up. It just got so much bigger, but also so much deeper. I loved it so much. Along with the character work and world building, we also have a great emphasis on war, on the horrors of war, on the evil that war brings. Not just the wounds, which we get plenty of working in a medical tent on the front lines of war, not just the wounds, but also the pain and destruction that it brings in a very human perspective and in the people that are caught up in it. But even with all the darkness, there's also a great emphasis on the tenacity of refusing to give up even in the darkest of times. Oh my goodness, I love this book so much. I loved it. Book one was very, very good. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Book two blew it out the water. I don't think I have a complaint about it. I enjoyed this book so much. Can't wait for any sequels that come for this series. I also started Wickwire Watch, and from the first chapter. Totally in love. And this follows a guy named Inkwell, or Ink for short. He is a pickpocket, a thief. He's just trying to survive, and he can trust himself and himself alone. And in one of his ventures, he comes across a magical pocket watch, and it is strange, and with that also comes a lot of trouble. He's now in danger, and he comes across a group of people that are willing to help him, that are offering to protect him, and they whisk him away to something very foreign to him. And it's actually it's a group of people, the colonists, that are not who he wants to get mixed up with, we'll say it that way. And so at first he's very guarded, but now do I have another found family? Do I have another found family book back to back? Another thing I want to say about this book is it's so good at ending chapters. With each chapter, it's an intriguing, interesting chapter, and then it ends in a way that makes me go, what? What was that? I have to know more. And so I'm having such a hard time putting this book down. Also, the way the oddities of this magic is described, I love it so much. Be it the way that the pocket watch is being described, and the way it's acting, or like a person coming up and saying very strange things and then jumping into a lake, or the whole room just cracking open. Like, what do you mean? We're in Ink's perspective. We're following Ink, who is someone who is not familiar to any of this. And so when this world is opening up in this way, the way magic seems to him is exactly the way I want magic to be. You know, like when I'm entering into a new world and new magics, I too want to be like, what was that? You know, I want to be overwhelmed, and I want it to seem odd and strange, because that's how it would feel to me if all of a sudden I was opened up to all of these things. And that's how this book feels, and I love it so much. Just from the very beginning, I have enjoyed this book, and with each progressing chapter, I love it even more. So, initial impressions of Wickwire Watch, very much enjoying it. We'll probably read it very quickly because I don't want to put it down. So, welcome to the vlog. Hi, so I just finished Wickwire Watch, and when I say just finished, I mean I just finished it. But I'm about to leave, and I won't be back till after dark, so I'm just gonna give you gut feeling reaction feelings on this, because I don't want to record after the sun goes out, and you'll just have to tune into my wrap up if you want more put together thoughts on Tuesday, because this is also the last vlog clip. There will only be 2 clips in this video because City of Last Chances, finishing that up, and Wickwire Watch took up my whole week. So, I enjoyed this so much. Okay, so the setting is so immersive, and it's very Oliver Twist-esque sort of feel, and Ink feels like he fits right in there. And going into this world was just, it was too right. Being in this world, being with Ink in it, was just too right, and I enjoyed it so much. So it starts off with this odd, strange, what's going on mystery, with magical things happening, and then opens up into this much wider, much bigger, intrigue-filled world, and then shifts to this sort of found family, slice of life vibe, where the people like I told you in the last clip, the people who kind of help Ink out and they say, okay, we can protect you from these things that are hunting you down. We can protect you, and just come with us. And so he does. And it's this motley crew. It's this found family. Again, it's a motley crew, found family that have their own way of life, their own rules, their own systems, their own systems, and their own family. And when it slows down and we get this slice of life with them, then it also opens up in these characters what makes them tick, what brought them to this point and to this situation in life, how they've grown to from what they were to what they are now, and to trust each other and their backstories. And it just opens these characters up to be these living, breathing, real people. And the world, too, is so fascinating. It's more than just Oliver Twist. There's so much going on in this world. And the magic is so strange and exciting and terrifying. And there were definitely parts of this book. And don't hear me wrong. This is not... I'm not calling this book cozy fantasy. Hang on. Just because... And then my neighbors turns on. Just because there is a section where it slows down and we really focus on characters and character dynamics and relationship dynamics and all the things, does not mean that that's what this book is, because it's not. Because it also picks right back up after we get our little character deepening time, picks right back up. It gets freaky. It gets intense. It gets so intense. It turns into such a wild ride with huge reveals that I did not see coming. This was such a unique book. This was such a unique book. It was so charming and cozy, but thrilling and surprising. I really enjoyed this a lot. Do I like mysteries? Because the mystery element to this was very good too. It actually held my interest, which doesn't happen with me. Anyway, we buddy read this on the Discord. We buddy read all the things on my Discord. When I make what I plan to read for the month, we just tell everybody and then open up a bunch of channels for all the books that I plan to read. So there were a couple of people that read this alongside me and loved it. But now there are a couple of other people that are now picking it up because we enjoyed it so much. So I'm not gonna read book 2 immediately. I'm gonna wait for a couple of other people that are wanting to pick it up now. I'm gonna wait for them to catch up before I start book 2 so we can all move forward together. But I will be reading book 2. I also, I don't have it out here. I'll grab it. Okay, so I'm missing next week's reading vlog because we'll be out of town. We're going on a little hiking trip, and so because I'm missing next week's vlog, I will not have a vlog for the 2 books that I'm working on finishing up for this month. So they're going to be in the wrap-up, which will be up on Tuesday. So it's The Mermaid of Black Conch, which I am currently reading, and it's so interesting. I'm 46 pages in, so not super far, but a mermaid a local man, David Baptist, sings hymns on his boat and kind of draws the mermaid's attention, and very slowly they build up a little bit of trust, so she trusts him, and then she tries to follow his boat, and then some Yankees capture her instead, and then, you know, they're like, who can we sell this to? What kind of monetary gain? Even though she's alive, right there, living, but she's a thing because she's not human, and he tries to rescue her. And that's where I am so far in the book. That's all that's happened in the first 50 pages. But the way it's written is very unique. It's the narrative in some chapters, but then sometimes we're also getting David's journal entries, and the way he tells the story is kind of staggered and a little bit like I have to read it very slowly, but it's just such an interesting voice to the character and to the story, and I just don't know what it's going to be. I think it's going to be a very slow kind of book about people and not so much an adventure or fantasy or thrilling or exciting. But I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from this. So that's what I'm reading physically right now. And then I'm starting Howl's Moving Castle. And those are the 2 books that I'm going to be finishing out the month with. And those will be in my wrap up on Tuesday. So you'll get thoughts on those there. And then I'll miss next week's vlog. And then the following week, we'll talk about April books. I hope you enjoyed what you read this week. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you again soon. Bye.